and we'll get into that, talking about the national championship, Alabama, Georgia, part 2. And yeah, this first game they played, it was 41-24. And Alabama put the hurting on them, and they put the hurting on Georgia's feelings. Like we said, they came out against Michigan. They were pissed off on defense.
I just got this layout right now. Yeah, over a month ago, or just about a month ago, Alabama dog walked Georgia. And now that the line's come out this week, the game's going to be played Monday, and Georgia opens up as a 2.5-point favorite, which right. I am still like, I don't know. It's just one of those things that we talk about and something that we look at, and I'm so confused about it. Like I still have sitting here, and as I'm writing, prepping for this, I am still so confused about it. The over-under opens up as 52, and the percentage of winning, Georgia has a 58.4% winning, and Bama has a 41% point winning. They're both 13-1. Alabama is number 1 ranked, and Georgia is number 3. Or no, Georgia is number 1 ranked, and Alabama is number 3 ranked, or whatever it is. They're one. Yeah.
It's 1 versus 3.
Yep. It's 1 versus 3. Georgia averages 39 points per game. Some of these stats are very close, which is shocking to me. I thought that Bama had the lead on all these stats. Georgia averages 39 points per game, and Alabama averages 41. Georgia records 448 yards, 448 yards per game, and Bama averages 494 yards. Alabama allows 50 more yards than Georgia does, which is, I was shocked, but then we've always talked about Georgia's defense and how stout it is, and that their team goes as long as this. This is the only stat that really has that big of a difference. Georgia only allows 9.5 points per game, and Alabama allows over 20, which is shocking, but I mean, Bama also plays at a much faster tempo than Georgia does, which I think that argument says a lot for, those numbers, is that Bama plays at a very fast pace, and Bama's quarterback's just that much better. I mean, as simple as that. You got Bryce Young. It's very hard for me to go against the Heisman, the best quarterback in the nation, one of the best. I mean, it's not like Bama's a dog shit defense. Like, this is the second best defense probably in the nation. So what is your opinion about this? And tell me who you think is going to win.
Yeah, you talked about Georgia being the favorite. Listen, it's Vegas. They also predicted the game to be over under 52. And like we just said, Alabama themselves last time scored 41 points. So they expect this to be a more low-scoring game. I don't know. I'm curious to see. I'm looking forward to this game. I was looking forward to it the first time. I thought Georgia would put up more than a fight, and they didn't. That was just Bryce Young being Bryce Young, and Bryce Young, the Heisman, is ridiculous. Georgia is crazy. They've only surrendered 6.9 points during the regular season. Once again, giving up 41 to them. Their average is still only 9.5 on the year. It's just wild what Bryce Young did to that offense the first time. 536 yards on the day. He also pulled out his legs. He had 40 yards rushing and a touchdown. I want to see him get out of the pocket more, use those legs. He can be very, very enticing at this next level doing that. We've seen what Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, so many names can do. Jalen Hurts with their running game. It opens up an offense completely. I'd love to see Bryce Young get out more and use his legs. This veteran secondary has got to step up for Georgia. It's as simple as that. These guys are seniors and juniors. Darion Kendrick, I love Clemson. He came from Clemson. He's played in a lot of college football playoff games. He's a senior. Amari Speed, you'll see he's the other starting corner, redshirt senior. William Poole, he's a senior. Lewis Klein, he's a junior. These guys, they got to step up. But as we said last week in the Cincinnati-Alabama game, to have a good secondary and to lock up, you have to get pass rush. They both have to work in unison. You can't have one without the other. Trevon Walker, Robert Beal, along with Jordan Davis, those boys got to step up. Nakobe Dean, those guys all have 5 sacks on the year. They have to get pressure. I'd love to see stunts, blitzes, anything. You just cannot let Bryce Young sit back in that pocket, or he's just going to dink and dunk, and then you're going to come up just one time. Williams has gone over the top on you. Not a thing you can do about it. Speaking of Jameson Williams, This was the question in the last game. Who's going to step up now that John Mechie's out? They did not have to pass the ball against Cincinnati. They ran the ball. All right, cool. This game, you're going to have to pass the ball. Georgia's defense clearly stout. You got to pass the ball. Jamison Williams, clear cut, one of the best draft prospects in here. John Mechie was also a low-end 1, high 2 projected prospect. Without him, this offense changes a lot. He had 6 catches for 97 yards, 1 touchdown before tearing his ACL against Georgia. Ja'Cory Brooks stepped up in the game after that. He had 1 catch for 9 yards. After that, against Cincinnati, he had 7 targets, 4 catches, 66 yards, and 1 touchdown. He stepped up. He led that team in receiving that game. As we said, Kobe and Sauce Gardner, they put the pressure on Jamison Williams. Would love to see Ja'Cory Brooks step up again. He's a very talented freshman. It's also the veterans, though. You have Slade Bolden in the slot. You also have Jahleel Billingsley and Cameron Latu. They're the tight ends. These receivers, they got to create separation down the field. And just practice reps with your quarterback should have helped. These guys, they've not been working with Bryce Young all year. These young freshmen, Ja'Cory Brooks, Ajeel Hall. Yeah, just giving more practice time with your quarterback. These are young receivers that haven't had a lot of work. They are talented, though, 4 and 5 stars. Curious to see how they step up. Georgia's offense, clearly you have to score points to stick with this Alabama offense. This run game from them is going to be key. Zamir White, the leader of this squad, 147 carries, 772 yards, 10 touchdowns on the year. Dalvin Cook's younger brother, James, 170 yards, or 107 carries, 651 yards, 7 touchdowns. Also have Kenny McIntosh, the young man, 322 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns. Stetson Bennett, when he needs to, can use his legs. He has 48 rushes, 283 yards, and a touchdown. He can get out. He can get out of the pocket and move with his legs, kind of like a Baker Mayfield, if that's a comparison you want to use. The kid needs to let it fly this weekend. We talked about the run game, the pass game, scoring points. You have to push the ball down the field. Stetson Bennett has 2,635 passing yards, 27 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions on the year. He has the 4th best quarterback rating in the country at 178. Bryce Young has 174. So Stetson Bennett is very efficient at the end of the day, not as talented, clearly. Very efficient, though. And this could be most likely one of his last games starting. It's just as simple as that. If you look at it, there's transfers looking at their program like Caleb Williams. I'm sorry if Caleb Williams comes in, you're going to the bench. It's as simple as that. There's other names that have not entered yet. But they also have a talented 5-star freshman there. He was the QB4 in the 2021 class behind Quinn Ewers, Caleb Williams, and Sam Hurd of Washington. This is a big, talented guy that was Georgia's Mr. Football. He came to the state for a reason. I don't think the guy's just going to want to sit the bench. He redshirted this year. They expected to go with JT Daniels to start the year. Instead, they go with Stetson Bennett to close this thing out. He's not giving up the job. Got to get the ball to his playmakers. Brock Bowers is a freshman tight end, going to be probably a first-round pick when he comes out. The dude already has 12 touchdowns this year. Their leading receiver at 846 yards and 52 catches. Other than that, you have Jermaine Burton. He's a big downfield threat. He has 5 touchdowns on 469 yards. George Pickens, we talked about him last week. The dude did not play this year. Still most likely going to be a 1st or 2nd round pick. He only has 4 catches for 56 yards on the year. Get the boy the ball. If not, you got to get the ball to Adonai Mitchell. He's a 6'4" freshman, 3 touchdowns on the year. Just push the ball down the field. Be aggressive in this one, Stetson Bennett. What do you have to lose? Like, ultimately, you've already lost to this team once. People, not Vegas, but they're expecting you to lose again. They're not expecting you to be the starter next year. This is one of your last chances. Go out, push the ball downfield. This Alabama secondary, listen, they're not the best. Brian Branch has 9 pass breakups. Josh Jobe has 2 interceptions, 4 pass breakups. They got a young man, Kool-Aid McKinstry. He's getting time in the slot now, the 5-star. Just a few spots below Brock Vandergaard in that ranking. last year for recruiting. They're not the most solid group. You can push the ball downfield on this unit in that secondary. Jordan Battles in the middle. Just push the ball downfield. What do you got to lose? The only unit I would avoid is the linebackers for Georgia. Also, the linebackers from Bama. The last thing we're going to talk about, the linebacking play. Nakobe Dean and Will Anderson, most likely the two top linebackers in the nation. We talked about Devin Lloyd from Utah, but these boys are legit. Will Anderson should have been at the Heisman. 97 tackles on the year. An FBS record for tackles for losses at 32.5. He also has 17.5 sacks on the year. Nakobe Dean, no slouch himself, mocked in many first-round drafts this year. Will Anderson can't go. He's only a sophomore. Nakobe Dean, linebacker, one in this draft class, though. 68 tackles, 6 sacks, 8.5 TFLs. He gets out and defends the pass more, as he has 2 interceptions and 5 passes defended. Georgia also has Quay Walker, Nolan Smith, and Channing Tyndale. They all have over 50 tackles. Alabama, I mean, other than Will Anderson, you have Toto there. He has 105 tackles on the year. This is linebacking core is very good. This is just what you expect from the SEC defenses. And I'm going to make my pick here. If I'm going to go off of these linebacking cores and what's going to step up, I don't expect anything to change, man. Will Anderson is Will Anderson. Henry Toa, like we said, 105 tackles. These boys are in the middle of that defense. They're going to be getting gaps all day, getting downhill. I know that Georgia offensive line got some pushes and got some just running lanes against Michigan. This Alabama team, listen, they're physical SEC guys just like you. They've already played you once. They understand what you're going to do. Most running teams, listen, you have about 10, 11 set plays. Other than that, man, they're most of the same. You have the play actions off of them. I like Alabama in this game. I like Bryce Young. I like Jamison Williams going out one last time in his college career, but I also like Ja'Cory Brooks stepping up in the slot. Darion Kendricks, I would expect to get an interception as he had 2 against Michigan. I just don't see how you can win. Stetson Bennett's efficient at the end of the day. I'm not going to pick him to win a big game. I'm not picking him to win my national title. It's just that simple.
Yeah, I got Bama too in this game, and I said it earlier, I'm almost shocked, or not almost, I am shocked that Bama goes into this game as an underdog. So do you think it's something that Vegas knows that we don't, or do you think they're just wrong?
I mean, they could possibly make some money off of this. I don't know. It's Vegas being Vegas, but